everybody does things a little bit differently with their eBay store, which is one of the things I love about eBay. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to talk about the items that I sold while I was on time away mode for the last 9 days and get into all those details. But before we do, my name is Brian and I'm a reseller. I go to garage sales, estate sales, thrift stores, and Facebook Marketplace, and I pick up items that I can flip on eBay for a profit most of the time. I sell in the everything category, and today you're going to get a really good look at what the everything category looks like for my business based on all the items that sold here. So let's get right into it. I did go to, I went to Des Moines, Iowa, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. My wife and I drove up there to watch my oldest son compete in the national speech and debate competition held up there. It was crazy. There was thousands and thousands of kids. It was just insane. It's interesting. They take over like the whole expo center in a downtown area for like the registration and all the like people getting there and stuff like that. And then they break out and they go to high schools in the surrounding area to do all the different competitions and events. And they meet back up at the end of the week for all the final competitions in the expo center. It's a pretty cool thing, but it's an interesting type of getaway for my wife and I. So my wife was luckily she's able to work remote, so she had a regular work week. She's able to get away from time to time, and we went and watched my son compete on Monday and Tuesday. Unfortunately, he didn't make it past Tuesday into the top 60, but he still had a great time. He had some of his friends from a neighboring school advance into the top 30 actually, and so he was able to go watch them. And then as a team, they go watch multiple events and just learn and help people if they can that they know or work with. So it was a pretty cool deal. But because of the way it was set up, I had a lot of free time, and so I spent some time at thrift stores. I think I made a list of all the thrift stores in Des Moines and a few surrounding cities, and I went to every one of them. Some of them were pretty cool. Some of them were like, not that great, but I found some good stuff while I was up there and brought it back home with me. My wife and I went to a handful of garage sales. We found some that were okay, and then we found one out there in the country, and man, they had garage sale prices. They were selling stuff for 25 cents, 50 cents, $1, and I was able to pick up some stuff for like $1 that was worth 40 and 50 bucks. They just had it all laid out on tables and wanted to get rid of stuff, so it was pretty fun. But so I got to do some shopping while I was up there, spend some time with my son and the whole speech and debate team, spend time with my wife, going out and exploring the city, and find some cool places to hang out or go eat. And but while I was gone, I had my store on time away mode, so I did put a note on my store that said, hey, I'm going to be gone for this amount of time. eBay updates the shipping timeline, so they see that whenever they buy the item. But this time what I did is every single time somebody made a purchase, I didn't do it the same day. The next morning, when I would have normally shipped an order, I sent them a message. Hey, thank you for your order. It was the same message. I had just had it typed in my notes. Thank you for your order. You probably already saw the note on my store, but I am on vacation. I'll be back, and I'll be shipping your order on Monday, June 23rd. Thanks, Brian. And about probably a third of the people responded, hey, no problem, thank you, appreciate it. And no one else responded, and but nobody canceled their order. In the past, whenever I've been on time away mode for an extended period, like 9 days, I've had people actually go, oh, sorry, I didn't realize that. Let me cancel that order, and I'll, thanks for telling me. I didn't, but then I just had the note, and what would happen is people would message me and go, hey, how come my order hasn't shipped? And I'd be like, well, I'm on time away mode. I'm on vacation. It'll still get there in the time frame eBay said it would. It's just not shipping for a few days. And people would cancel their orders. And it's not a lot. I mean, I've probably half a dozen times that's happened. And I've been on time away mode probably about half a dozen times. So it's probably one or two instances, every once in a while. But this time I had 0 cancellations. So I don't know if that's because I sent the follow-up note or people just expected that because they saw the note on the store whenever they went in to see the item. I don't know. But anyhow, From last 2 Saturdays ago through last night, Sunday, I sold 22 items, which I was just thrilled about. I really thought it was going to start off just super, super slow and just be slow the whole time because I was on time away mode. And 22 items over that 9 days. It's not spectacular, but I'm perfectly happy with it. It's a little over $600 in sales for those 9 days. And again, I'm just like, man, that's awesome. Now, I wasn't active, like I wasn't listing items. I had intended to have some queued up and list while I was out, but instead I just listed them all before I left. So I think I had 3 or 4 items left in my draft bank that I listed on Saturday while we were on our way up, and the rest of the time I didn't list anything. I was active in offers. If people sent me an offer or a message, or I saw that I had items eligible to send an offer, I did send offers on every single item the entire time I was gone. And if it was, hey, I wanted to stay active in my store, but I didn't necessarily care if they bought it on the offer, I might only send a 5% offer. But, but some items I really wanted to get out of my store, so I'd send a 20 or 30% offer to try to entice somebody to buy it. And I did have a few people act on offers. I had a few people that sent me counter offers. Some I accepted, some I didn't. And overall, just, had quite a few items that moved. So we're going to get into those items that sold right now. And I'm just going to go in the order that they sold, starting with 2 Saturdays ago, going through last night. All right. First item that sold, I've had in my store for a while. I picked these up at Goodwill, one of my local Goodwills. They're called Defiance size cups, but Greece and Athens. Whenever I saw these, I was like, oh, it's Starbucks and they're brand new. Luckily, they were only $4.89 plus tax, and I saw that there was quite a few listed at the time, but I saw that some people sold them for like $60, and I was like, I don't know, I'll give it a shot. So I've had them for, I want to say, about 4 or 5 months. And I've been sending out pretty aggressive offers to try to get them out of the store whenever I see people looking at them. And I ended up selling them for $35.93 plus tax. So $5.40 into $35.93, not plus tax, plus shipping. Next item is something I've been sending aggressive offers on just to get it out of my store. Is this vintage kids toy? It's by the company I don't know if it's Cheen or China, Chein, but it's just a little drum, little kids drum, tin drum. I picked it up at the estate sale in the very first video I did on this channel. I've got $1 into the drum, and I sold it for $7.11 plus shipping. Glad to have that thing gone. Every time I see it, I'm like, there's a couple other toys up there. Probably should just take them to Goodwill and give them away. 9 of the 22 items that I sold while I was gone were clothing items, which, again, I talk about this a fair amount, but just it reinforces to me the need for myself, I'm not saying anybody else should do it, but to make sure you have as decent a variety as you can in your store so that you can appeal to more people. People are looking for things like BKE buckled jeans that they can buy on the secondhand market because they like them, but not pay $99 for a pair of jeans. So these BKE Aiden jeans I picked up at a garage sale for $2, and I sold them for $24.89 plus shipping. So I'm making a good profit on these. Somebody else is saving themselves, probably $65-70 and not buying a brand new pair, and everybody wins. So the secondhand market is pretty awesome, gotta tell you that. So that's number 3. Number 4 is this Woolrich ball cap I picked up at Goodwill. I picked this up for $4.40. It's a really cool cap, and had it for maybe 90 days. Sold that one for $23.89 plus shipping. Really cool hat. Whenever I saw it, and I saw it was Woolrich and it was actually wool, I was like, that's gonna sell. So I wasn't worried about paying the $4 plus tax for it. This next item is super cool. Here it is. Let's get a couple of things out of the way here. So this is what it looks like in the case. This is from the brand Melita. You may see some of their stuff out and about at thrift stores. It's a vintage coffee maker brand. So this is a travel coffee maker. So once you open the case, inside the main compartment, there's actually a personal coffee maker with a ceramic coffee cup. So this is going to take a little bit of packing, but it's got your pull out, deal there. I actually tested it. I set it up at my house. Actually, no, I set it up here. I put some bottled water in there, ran it through there. I didn't put coffee in it, but I just made sure that everything cycled through properly, and I got it all cleaned out. And really, really cool piece. It was zipped up at the thrift store, and so I unzipped it and took a look at it. And they only wanted $4.49 plus tax, and I was like, I think I can sell it for $25 based on comps. So in the front pouch here, the elastic is worn out, but you've got all your coffee, creamer, sugar. It's got the filters. It's got the little black spoon to mix everything up right there. But yeah, because the elastic's worn out, I made sure I pointed that out in the picture. So I think I probably had about 18 pictures of this thing up on the description, but on the listing. But I made sure to show that the elastic was all stretched out and didn't really hold the stuff. But really cool piece. So I picked it up for $4.88 and sold it for $24.89 plus shipping. Next this is an item I wanted to get out of the store. This is a Tuttle Golf shirt. It is missing the top button right here that would go into this buttonhole. So I did say that there are extra buttons on the shirt underneath, but I didn't change the button, put a replacement button on. But it is present, so somebody could fix that. I picked this up at Goodwill for $7.38 and sold it for $12.34 plus shipping. Not a great profit on that one. Some Tuttle Golf shirts sell really well. I don't know why this one didn't do as well. It could have just been the button. But I was trying to sell it for, I think, like $22, $23, something like that. But anyhow, it's out of the store now, so I'm glad to have that one gone. Next up is another pair of jeans. Same garage sale that I bought those BKE jeans. I bought these buckle black jeans. I picked these up for $2. They were all $2 at that garage sale. And I sold these for $24.89 plus shipping. So another example of somebody wanting to buy a premium pair of jeans and getting just a really good deal, and I still get to make a nice profit on them. So glad to see those go. Next, more clothing. The next three are these Prana pants. I'm starting to find out that, I knew not all Prana is created equal, but so far I haven't found any great Prana. High dollar value. I thought it was worth more, but maybe if it was a linen shirt or something, I don't know. But picked up these Prana Tucson red. This is like kind of a chino pant material. I picked them up on half off. It was a half off color at Goodwill, and it's so funny. I bought it like on a Thursday, so everybody kept skipping over these, but so I picked them up for $3.35 and sold them for $16 plus shipping on an offer. Somebody sent me an offer on these, and I took it. I was like, still gonna make $13. I had $9.99 shipping on these. Probably gonna make $2 to $3 in the shipping, so I'm in good shape. Happy about that. Next are these Pelagic Mako fishing shorts. So these aren't sealed, so I'll take one out here. So this pair is new, the gray pair is not. So I listed them, I think as new other, and I put in the description, read description, and clearly called out, and in the pictures, the gray ones don't have any tags whatsoever. That the tan ones are new, the gray ones are not, but they're in like new condition. I'm guessing somebody wore them one time. Decided they didn't like the shorts at all, and donated both of them to Goodwill. So they're the same size, same model of short and everything. But So I bundled them together, sold them together to increase my selling price. So I've got $11.50 into the pair, and I sold them for $44.89 plus shipping. I had decent interest. I had people make me some offers early on, and I countered pretty high. And man, people just kept wanting to pay $35 for them. And I'm looking, I'm like, no, like they're worth $25 a pair, and I did $45 for the two because you're buying both of them at the same time. So giving them a little bit of a deal, but finally the right buyer came along and they sold for full price, $44.89 plus shipping. This next one is I don't know the brand of shirt. I can't find the brand of shirt anywhere. It's got a little golf logo tag on it, but it's called Folds of Honor is the style. So yeah, the way it's folded up, you can't see any of it, but it's got a cool folded flag, like right here, logo. Now on the Digicam red, white, and blue, it's hard to see it, but on the sleeve, it's got a flag, like a full color red, white, and blue with the yellow stitch around it, USA flag on it. And it's Folds of Honor is, I'm gonna get this all wrong, but it's a group that honors fallen soldiers. That's the extent that I know about it. But I found two of these at a garage sale for $7 a piece. They're different sizes. There's a 2X and a 3X, or I'd have bundled them. But so I paid $7 for this one, and I sold it for $29.89 plus shipping. All right, next item is this. This is a ResMed, which is a CPAP machine. This is a power supply. I was at a garage sale, and I saw the whole CPAP, and I asked a few questions about it, and the lady goes, yeah, my husband gets a new one every year with his insurance coverage, and so we just had that, and they didn't have prices on a lot of stuff. She goes, you can just have it. And I was like, you mean have it, like take it for free? And she goes, yeah, you can just have it. If you think you can do something with it, you can just have it. I was like, oh, okay. I said, do you know how used it is? She goes, well, he used it 8 hours every night for a year. And I was like, oh wow, it's got a lot of hours on it. So I did second wind CPAP, I think is what it's called. I went on their website to try to sell it there. You cannot sell CPAP machines on eBay. That's not to say that I didn't see a lot of people selling the power supply in the case for $100 and the CPAP machine was in the picture, which is a violation of eBay's rules, and they don't catch everybody that does that, but I saw a lot of those things being sold. I didn't want to try it at all. There's an actual message whenever I opened it that said, like, turned it on, that said, like, this is no longer usable or something, but I did send the information in. They emailed me back within a few hours and said, sorry, we try to buy stuff like under 5,000 hours or 3,000 or something like that, and we couldn't take it. So no biggie. But I thought maybe somebody needs this power supply. Maybe somebody lost theirs, and I guess somebody did, because I didn't pay anything for this, and I sold it for $18.89 free shipping. So it's going to cost me $5-6 to ship, so I'll make $10 probably after everything's said and done on that one. Next item, more clothes. These were personal. I had these for a number of years. Grundins fishing pants. These are just a lightweight sporty material that you can get wet if you're like out in the river or whatever, and they dry off real fast. But nice pants. I wore them whenever I was a little bit bigger than I am now, and so I sold those for $14 plus shipping, and just happy to have those going to a new home. Next item, more clothes. We've got these Citizens of Humanity jeans. These are men's jeans. I picked these up at Goodwill for $10.10. It's hit or miss on some of these more like mid to high tier luxury brands. They're a really nice pair of jeans, and I was like, man, I hope they have some value, and they did. So they sold for $44.89 plus shipping, and I only had them listed for, I don't know, maybe a week on those, but then they went out the door. $10.10 into $44.89 plus shipping. This next item, this stainless steel griddle, I found at my local Goodwill just right up the road. So it says the only marking is it's stamped made in Belgium on the bottom. And I found one that looked like it on eBay, a sold comp that was stamped made in Belgium on the bottom, and they called it the brand Belgique, Belgique. I have no idea if that's how you say it, but it's just a stainless steel griddle you can put on your stovetop. Goodwill didn't have it marked up. I thought it was going to be more expensive, so I paid $3.14 for it and ended up selling it for $24.89 plus shipping. I've had that one for probably about 90 days. This next item, I should have gotten this listed a lot sooner. I just had it sitting on my shelf. I kept forgetting about it because it was in this brown box, and every once in a while I go, what's in that box? Oh yeah, it's a Nutcracker. I got to get to that. But it's a Texas native, I'm not going to get it all out, Nutcracker Inertia Nutcracker. It's a cool piece. I picked it up at a thrift store in Norman for, what was it, $9.75, and sold it for $23.89 plus shipping. The brand itself came in a variety of boxes, some branded boxes, some like this were like a mail order box. There was an old shipping label on here that I tore off. It was so old and crusty. But yeah, so good sell-through rate. It was selling for more in the branded box, but still $9.75 into $23.89 plus shipping, and I sold it in about a week and a half. This next item, this is the third one of these I sold, and it's the last one I've got for now until I get more saved up, are these used blank tapes. So they were all blank tapes that somebody recorded music onto, and these were all the TDK tapes, so it's all 40 of them are the same type. So I've got $1. I picked up that Coast carrier right there with 130 blank tapes that have been recorded over for $4 for the whole deal. So I've got $1 into that box of tapes, and I sold it for $19.89 plus shipping. And the reason I broke them up into sets of 40 is because 40 tapes would fit in those boxes. And so they're pretty tightly packed in there. I just stuffed some bubble wrap, in and around the open spots and send it on its way. Unless somebody from USPS just like launched that thing across the room, everything's going to be nice and safe. And in fact, I already got positive feedback on the first one that I shipped out about 3 weeks ago. So that's the last one of those going out. Glad to see those go out the door. This next item, I was so jacked when I sold it. I was so jacked. I did a video on it, and on this one item, a short video. And then I did a long form video week before last talking about scalping on eBay, and all of it was because of this shirt. So the Charvet dress shirt, made in Paris, France. Picked this up at Goodwill for $7.38, and I saw an exact sold comp for this shirt and decided to sell it for the same exact price. I didn't want to go slightly under or anything like that, so I listed it for $89.89 plus shipping, and I had offers immediately. $50. I had several people send me offers for $50. I'm like, nah, if people are going to send me offers for $50, somebody's going to pay full price. I did have one guy that sent me an offer, and it was like the day after I listed it, and I told my wife, I was like, I would take $79 for it since I've only had it up for a day. And so I sent him a $79 offer. He didn't take it, and I'm glad, because it sold a few days later for full price, $89.89 plus shipping, and it's going to Japan. So that's pretty awesome. I don't know if I've ever had anything go to Japan. I know I've had stuff go to several countries. I can't recall if I've had something go to Japan or not, but now I have, which is pretty awesome. And the profit, like $80. Pre-tax profit is just going to be like nuts. All right, next, getting a couple of tools mixed in here, which I like. This is a Plum roofing hammer. It still has the original price tag on it. It paid more for it than that, which is awesome. But the original barcode, I picked that up at an estate sale for $2.50 and sold it for $28.61 plus shipping. Let's see. The next item is this tie rack. I picked up at Goodwill for $3.14. In the description, which I based on a sold comp, it was like tie, scarf, belt, you know, all the keywords. But I think it's a 36 count tie rack. It's pretty cool. But yeah, nice oak, brass rivets, you know, screw holes to rivets to put the screws through and mount it. But I picked that up for $3.14 and sold it for $15.89 plus shipping in about 3 days, 3 or 4 days. Next up is this Colonial PGA Tour Fort Worth, Texas golf hat. It does have sun fading on it, which I called out in the description and I showed very well in the pictures. So you can see the color difference between the back of the hat and the front of the hat. But overall, it's in really good shape. It is used, but it's in good shape. Picked it up for 50 cents at a garage sale and sold it for $11.89 plus shipping. Next up is this Madewell Transport backpack. I did a video on this one as well as a short video, this item by itself, talking about finding value at Goodwill, stuff they don't know about. Like this is Madewell, which is a decent brand of clothing, but this transport backpack, which is leather, unfortunately has some water stains, which I did call out in the description and I showed them in the pictures very well. You know, they had it priced, I think, at $8.89 plus tax. I picked it up for $9.60 all in. And then they had smaller items that were, I don't know what they said. There were some, you know, brand name on them, so they would mark it way up, even though it was actually worth, oh, it was Vera Bradley. They had smaller Vera Bradley pieces marked for like $15.99 that were only worth like $25 on eBay because it's so saturated. But I picked this up for $9.60 and I sold it for $47.89 plus shipping. Just funny how, you know, the perceived value of a product based on, you know, hearing the name or maybe seeing it on YouTube and people selling a lot of Vera Bradley, or it's just funny. But got that one out the door. And then the last item, number 22, is this Defiance tape measure by Stanley Tools. This is a vintage piece. I think it's a 6 foot. Yeah, 6 foot, made in USA. But this is a push button, so it's this button right here. So you can pull it out and it clicks and it'll stay, and then you just push that button on the side and it'll retract it. And it's that nice shiny silver tape. Super cool piece. I say this a lot, but I did think about keeping this because I love little tape measures like this. But the thing is, I have 2 or 3 of them scattered around that I use, so I didn't really need it. But I paid 50 cents for that at a garage sale on half off day. Actually, I picked it up at the same time I picked up this hammer, and sold that tape measure for $18.89 plus shipping. So 50 cents into $18.89 plus shipping is pretty awesome. And that's it. That is all 22 items that sold while I was gone over a 9-day period. Had my store on time away mode, and I just couldn't be happier for the way things turned out. Had $600 in sales, no orders canceled, and now I've got to get to work getting all this stuff in boxes and bags and over to the post office and get it to its new homes. If you have any comments or questions, please leave those down below and I'll make sure and I'll get back to you right away. And until next time, have a great day.